Alrighty, well, New Ventures is out. You guys have probably already played it. If you're watching this video, welcome. I'm going to be talking about the loadouts that I used to complete ventures in less than 31 hours. It was actually an insane ride. I mean, I usually play with Archer and AWALlery. I'll put their stuff down below. Their Twitch that they stream on Twitch, and their YouTube's down below. But we finished ventures pretty fast, and I used certain loadouts during ventures, and I just wanted to talk about the loadouts that I used. Now, some of these are very close to me. Like, I usually have a specific loadout that I like running, but you guys can modify the loadouts to your liking. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. So starting off, we have Commando Renegade. Now, if you guys don't know, this is pretty much the minigun loadout. This is the default loadout. Most people use it in-game, if not just any mission, because it's a fun loadout to have. You basically have an infinite minigun just about. Now, I just want to talk about the actual loadout itself. So let's get into it. So Commando Renegade is in lead for me. I love running it. He decreases your going commander cooldown by 66%, allowing you to have a 5-second minigun cooldown. Just around 5 seconds. It's like 5.6, I think. So it's nice to have that cooldown. And then in team perks, we have Happy Holidays. So we have the increased ability cooldown or decreased ability cooldowns. So it decreases by 40%, which is good. And the support team, we have Boomstick, First Cup of the Day, Survivalist, Quick Fingers, it ain't done yet. Now, the necessary support team heroes that you need in the support team are Boomstick, Ain't Done Yet, and First Cup of the Day. These are like the ones that you need in the loadout in order to actually have most of the loadout built properly. And then the other two that you don't really need is Survivalist and Quick Fingers. Now, these two aren't necessary in the loadout in order to use it. Survivalist just gives me that health that I need in order to just stay alive, because minigun loadout, of course, you're a little slow while you're holding that minigun. And Survivalist, yes, doesn't give you that much health, but it does help me towards staying alive a little bit. And then Quick Fingers, early on in ventures, you kind of have a problem of no perks. You don't have a reload speed on one of your weapons because you just got a weapon. And I just personally like having that weapon reloaded, so I don't have to worry about it whenever I go out of minigun. So I like Quick Fingers. But to switch out, or any other heroes that you would want to use if you don't like using Survivors or Quick Fingers, we have a few different options. I probably should have looked them up right before, but we have a few options instead of them. So instead of Survivalist, someone mentioned that you could use Dentist, which does drop the burgers. It's not the greatest. Burgers are kind of like a bad coconut, but the good part about them is eliminations have a chance of dropping them. So you don't have to go around the map looking for them, but you have a 8% chance, where it's that's not really good. 8% chance to find something that would make the loadout a million times better if it was 100% guaranteed. So it's not bad, but then you also get that energy regen, which is really good. Sometimes you need more energy in order to get that minigun. And also if you're using grenades or seismic smash. And then the other thing was Fuel for the Fallen. Now this is usually used in loadouts that you use a lot of energy. He's all the way up here. I just scrolled right by him, I believe. Yeah, Fuel for the Fallen. So he eliminations give you 6 energy over 3 seconds. So you don't have to look for the energy that you need in order to actually eliminate those enemies. But otherwise, there's different heroes too, such as the seismic smash that increase, or whenever you use seismic smash, it increases your movement speed. Fleetfoot Kin to make you move faster, stuff like that. Those are heroes that you could use in order or in replace of Survivalists and Quick Fingers. But it's really preference at that point. You guys can modify the loadout to your liking. But this is the loadout that I use. This is the minigun I loved using. And then the last and final thing that I want to talk about up for this loadout is that you can switch out Commando Renegade and Diecast Jonesy. I just like Commando Renegade and lead because I like the 5-second cooldown of my minigun. But if you guys like doing more damage and you can wait a little longer, Diecast and lead does give you that energy minigun, but you have to wait 30 more, or I think it's 30 seconds just about. So it's not bad, but you guys can switch them out to your liking. Otherwise, that is it for the first loadout. Let's move on to the second loadout. Not much to talk about in this loadout. We actually this is a basic loadout. I kind of modified this one. This one's kind of, you go crazy, do yourself when it comes to your farming loadout. But we're going to talk about Missions such as, like, you know, if you're doing a mission to farm, so if you're doing like build the radar, maybe in survivor missions, or even just a farming mission that you need to do, we have clip in the lead. So clip does increase your chances of getting more charges, so it has a 100% chance to drop additional ingredients, which is really good. I usually run her all the time in farming loadouts. Otherwise it's usually archaeologist, but clip has become like the most well-known overall hero to use in farming loadouts. And then team perk, we're using blast from the past. I honestly, you don't really have to use blast from the past. The only reason why I do this is because I'm farming and I want to be able to have a lot more health and not just die instantly in the higher zones. And then support team, we have Teddy, which increases your Teddy by, or we have Berserker that increases your Teddy damage by 30%. We got Strike Cross, which is necessary for the loadout. If you're farming, you want that anti-material charge heavy attack efficiency by 28%. You want that like buff with it. And then for the team perk to be activated, we have Saurian Fight and then Saurian Focus. So you want the energy to be able to regen. This is a set one, so you don't have to do anything. Whenever your shield is gone, you regen that 4 energy per second, which is really good. So you want that, and that's another reason why I'm running from blast from the past. And then the other one, this is really up to you, depending on what you want to do. Overbearing is not really necessary for the loadout, but you can use it in the loadout. But yeah, I think that's it for the loadout. You guys can go wild for this one. This one's just a farm loadout that I use during ventures. Nothing really crazy. And the next up, this one's kind of like an honorable mention because I didn't really use this one during ventures, but this one would be really good considering that this modifier, basically the closer you are, the more damage you do. And Dragon Scorch would be amazing because you are just really close to the enemy. Now, I don't know if weapons or abilities count towards like the damage you do, but even if it doesn't, Dragon Scorch is still a good loadout. Now, so for the loadout, we have Dragon Scorch in the lead, which, if you don't know, he right there increases your Dragon Slash range to 3 tiles and the width to 2 tiles and the damage by 25%, which is amazing. I love using this loadout and usually just random missions too sometimes. Team perk Happy Holidays, so it decreases your cooldowns, your ability cooldowns by 40%. And then in the support team, we have Fuel for the Fallen, which is necessary, Return of the Dragon, and Tail of the Dragon. So yeah, so Fuel for the Fallen gives you the energy back that you need in order to have this loadout. So I do recommend running Fuel of the Fallen 100%. And the Return of the Dragon, it decreases your energy cost by 30%. So you don't use as much energy. So you can just keep using your Dragon Slash over and over and over. And then Tail of the Dragon, which leaves behind the Energized Trail, which does basically extra damage just in case you don't kill those enemies that are in front of you. So it is good to have. And then the last two, of course, these are, change it to your liking. Sea Fog isn't necessary, but you do have a Smoke Bomb. If you're taking a lot of damage, you could just use it, get out of there, and then get your shield back, and then just kind of like regen the health real quick before you die. So yeah. And then the last one, also, we have increases your movement speed by 12.5%. Now, this one's not necessary. These last two, like I said, you can just change them to your liking. In replace of like these, you could probably do some like melee damage. You could probably use like assassination, something like that. Something that gives you melee damage in order to, do extra damage. But Dragon Scorch is usually up close and personal. So yeah. And then moving on, up next, we actually have Constructors. Now, this one is also kind of like a, I usually mention this every season. It's not necessarily a guaranteed loadout or like a loadout that you need to run, but you want a Constructor at least in one mission. You want a Constructor, so at least one Constructor. But otherwise, I don't think I actually run Constructor that often during ventures. I think I only ran it like twice, maybe a little like that. Usually Archer runs Constructor. Thank you, Archer, because I ran it one season and I was bored out of my mind. If you run Constructor for ventures the entire time, you get massively bored and you probably don't want to do that. But we have Ice King in lead. Now, you can put 3 different Constructors in lead. This is just the basic loadout for a Constructor loadout. You can run Ice King, Base Kyle, or Power Base Nox, but Base Kyle and Ice King are like the 2 that you usually want to run, or even Mega Base Kyle is also sometimes used. I know Archer sometimes uses Mega Base whenever we ran 4 Atlases or even 3 Atlases. Otherwise, I used Ice King, and usually Ice King is like the default. And then of course, I personally run Recycling. It doesn't really matter what team perk you use. Some people use Blast from the past because they just enjoy having that extra health. I don't mind, you know, dying every once in a while because my base already does a lot. And then in support team, yes, some of these stuff is not really necessary. The only one that I would say is necessary, or like a few of them, is base Kyle, mega base Kyle, and power modulation. This one's not necessary, but of course, power base Nox does give you that, you know, extra health. I like standing on base and be able to heal myself if I'm like low. So it's not a lot, but you know, it's not bad to have. And then tough traps and electrified floors, I just run them because it helps with damage. My trap durability for the traps that I use are already high, but in ventures they don't count your survivors. So you actually this actually helps your trap durability. So if a trap has like I think like 16, sometimes like some of the traps would just run out, and I love having the extra trap durability. It might seem like not a lot, but it does help. So yeah. And then the last one, like I said, electrified floors. This one surprisingly, you know, sometimes an enemy is really low health and bam, it just kills it because it's standing on your base. So not bad, not bad. And then the last and final loadout, which is my favorite, AWOL recalled might. This loadout, the things that they drop, dirt, and I was offended so much. But the last loadout that we're going to be talking about is the Blakebeard stash loadout. Now, this one is overall probably the best loadout you can run from beginning ventures all the way to the end, just because of the peg legs that actually drop in the stashes. But we're going to talk about the loadout. Paleo Luna is in lead, so you get melee weapon damage the more health you have. So you probably could switch her out for something, but I just like run Paleo Luna. I mean, like, the more health you have, the more damage you do. It's not really based on the hero per se in lead, but it's based on the amount of damage that you can do. So that's why she's in lead. And then the team perk, of course, is Blakebeard stash. So if you don't know what this does, the eliminations you get, sometimes they drop the stashes, which has a chance to give you coconuts, peg legs, and cannonball grenades, which are really fun to use. Cannonball grenades are fun, really fun. And then the coconuts are really good to give you that health and even damage if you run a certain hero. And then, of course, the peg legs, which is the main part of this loadout. And then in support team, we're going to talk about it. We got increases cannonball damage by 20%. This actually increases the damage on the cannonballs grenades. So if you're throwing those, you can actually do extra damage because of this hero right here. Now, this one's not necessarily needed, but it's also the team perk activates it because of it, so I would assume that you would want to run it. But yeah, and then we got Swab the Deck, which increases club damage by 17%, which is really good because you're running a club, the peg legs, which is a club, so you want that. And then we have Sea Fog, which is restores their shields to full. Not necessary. I'll talk about that in a second. Monster Smash, which basically the more eliminations you get life leech, which gives you that health back. And then Assassination, which this is an Xbox exclusive, but there is a different hero, base game hero, that you guys can use instead of her. But let's go back to Sea Fog. So Smoke Bomb restores their shields to full. You don't necessarily have to run this hero, but instead of Sea Fog, you can actually run coconuts instead. It will activate the team perk, and you get that extra damage buff when you eat the coconut. I personally just don't like running coconuts. I don't like running around looking for stuff or searching stuff. I just want to, you know, get the mission done quick and easy. So that's what we usually do in the missions anyways. So I'm not going to have time to look for coconuts. And then Assassination. I forgot. I always forget the girl that you can use. She's in the collection book. I always forget. I don't know why I can't remember her name, but she's a ninja, Assassin Sarah. She's the same one. I actually don't have a copy of her. I only have it in the collection book, but she is the exact same one. So if you guys need to, you know, know what her name is, this is her. But otherwise, that is actually all of the loadouts that I used during this venture season, and the best loadouts you guys could use in this venture season. HEXSYLVANIA venture season is really fun. I think I guess like the season itself is kind of I mean, the more the closer you are, the more damage you do is, you know, I mean, it's kind of, you know, oh, I have to get close to the enemy and it'll kill it, you know. But otherwise, you know, it's not a bad adventure season. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video, if you have any questions or any suggestions of loadouts that I could change for next HEXSYLVANIA season, let me know down in the comments. If you guys haven't already, hit that like button on the video. I would really appreciate it. And also, if you guys are new, hit the subscribe button. Otherwise, that is it for the video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.